Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna and welcome to all of you for Chaitanya Charitamrta. We are in MadhyaLila and we will be completing chapter 18 and moving on to chapter 19 today. So let us all recite together. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Lord Chaitanya, all glories to Lord Nityananda, all glories to Advaita Chandra, and all glories to all devotees of Lord Chaitanya. So here we are at the very last leg of the yatra. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's visit to Vrindavan is actually over. He has started back on his journey because we saw that how he was troubled by so many people visiting him and he was constantly agitated because of these ecstatic emotions. So his servant Balbhadra Bhattacharya, he made this request to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that let us go back, and Mahaprabhu had started his journey back. So we have already completed till verse number 213 where we saw that how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had such impactful dealing with those Pathan soldiers and they were completely transformed. So now verse number 214 to 229, travel to Prayag and glory of Chaitanya Lila. So the last section of chapter 18. Surukshetre asi Prabhu koila Ganga snan, Ganga tira pothe koila Prayage prayan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu next went to a holy place of pilgrimage called Surukshetra. He took his bath in the Ganges there and started for Prayag on the path along the banks of the Ganges. So he has visited Yamuna, he had darshan of Yamuna, he bathed in Yamuna in Vrindavan, and now he came back, so he has started traveling along the bank of Ganga. Sei Vipra Krishna Dase Prabhu Vedai Dila Yoda Hate Dui Jana Kohite Lagila. At Sorokshetra, the Lord requested the Sanodiya Brahmana and Rajput Krishnadas to return home. But with folded hands, they began to speak as follows. So I hope we remember that along with Balabhadra Bhattacharya, these two devotees were also there with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So right at the time when he reached Mathura, at that time the Sanodiya Brahmana joined him, and later this Rajput Krishnadas joined, and then they were there. They took him around Vrindavan, and they were constantly accompanying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when Mahaprabhu was leaving this Vraja Kshetra, so he requested them to leave, and then they are replying, Prayaga Paryanta Dunhe Toma Sange Yaba Tomar Charan Sangha Puna Kaha Paba. Let us go to Prayag with you. If we do not go, when shall we again get the association of your lotus feet? So they understand their fortune, and they understand that, okay, maximum they can come till Prayag, because they cannot leave everything behind and go to Odisha with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu may also not like that. So they were telling that, let us please join with you till Prayag. Mlecha deshad ke ha kaha karaye utpata Bhattacharya Pandita kahite na jane na bata. This country is mainly occupied by Muslims. At any place, someone can create a disturbance, and although your companion Balbhadra Bhattacharya is a learned scholar, he does not know how to speak the local language. So Balbhadra Bhattacharya has joined Mahaprabhu from Odisha, and he may not know this Braj Bhasha or the Hindi Bhasha which was spoken in this area. And then he also said that Muslims may create some disturbance. So how will Balbhadra Bhattacharya deal with them? So let us be there around with you. Shuni Mahaprabhu Ishat Hasite Lagila Sei Dui Jan Prabhura Sange Chali Aila. Hearing this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted their proposal by smiling mildly, hasite lagila. So he smiled, and thus those two persons continued to accompany him. Ye jana prabhur paila darshana sei preme matta hoya kare Krishna sankirtana. Whoever got to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would feel himself overwhelmed with ecstatic love and would begin to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Tanra sange anyonye tanra sange ana e mata Vaishnav koila sabadeshe grama. Whoever met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became a Vaishnav, and whoever met that Vaishnav also became a Vaishnav. In this way, all the towns and villages became Vaishnava one after the other. So this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mass preaching and conversion program was going on here in Vrindavan and on the way back to Jagannath Puri also, because Mahaprabhu would not say anything. He would just by seeing him, just by his glance, people would become Vaishnava one after the other. Dakhine yaite yaiche Shakti Prakashila Sei Mata Paschim Desha Preme Bhasaila. Just as the Lord inundated South India on his tour there, he also inundated the western part of the country with love of Godhead. Ei mata chali Prabhu Prayag aila Dasha dena triveni te makar snana koila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu finally arrived at Prayag, and for 10 successive days bathed in the confluence of the rivers Yamuna and Ganges during the festival of Makar Sankranti. So that was their plan, that if they could reach Makar Sankranti. So this is a time when there is this Kumbh Mela organized also every 14 years. So Mahaprabhu has reached at that auspicious Makar Sankranti time there, and 10 days he stayed there, and 10 days he was taking bath at this Sangam. So there is this Sangam of Ganga Yamuna there in Prayag. Vrindavan gaman prabhu charitra ananta sahasravadana yanra nahi pana anta. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's visit to Vrindavan and his activities there are unlimited. Even Lord Shesh, who has thousands of hoods, cannot reach the end of his activities. Taha ke kohite pare kshudra jivahana Dega darshan kailu muni sutra koriya. What ordinarily living being can describe the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? I have only indicated the general direction in the form of a summary. So Krishnadas Kaviraj, out of his humility and understanding his reality, he is telling that who can describe the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So he is telling that he has just given a little synopsis, a general direction. Alaukik Lila Prabhur alaukik riti Shuni leo bhagya hine nahaya pratiti. The pastimes and methods of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are uncommon. Unfortunate is he who cannot believe even after hearing all these things. Adyopantha Chaitanya Lila Laukika Jana Shraddha Kori Shuna Iha Satya Kori Mana. From beginning to end, the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are uncommon. Just hear them with faith and accept them as true and correct. So here is a very specific instruction to all of us who are listening Chaitanya Charitamrta, who are studying Chaitanya Charitamrta. So it is said that from beginning to end, it is extremely uncommon. It is alaukik. It is not something which is commonly seen. Just hear them with faith and accept them. Don't doubt whatever the Leelas are being described. Just accept them as true. Ye tark kore iha se murkh raja Apanara munde se apani pade vaja. Whoever argues about this is a great fool. He intentionally and personally brings a thunderbolt down upon his head. Chaitanya Charitamrta amritera sindhu Jagat ananda bhasaye yar ek bindu. So this Chaitanya Charitamrta, what is it? It is amritera sindhu. Amrit is nectar and Sindhu is ocean. So it is an ocean of nectar. And Jagad Anand Bhasaye Yar Ek Bindu. So Ek Bindu, or one drop of this ocean. And what is the potency of that? It can inundate the whole world with transcendental bliss. So just by hearing some little portion of Chaitanya Charitamrta, but with faith and accepting that as truth, it will fill our heart and our whole existence with transcendental bliss. Śrīla Rūpa Raghunatha Padayar Ash Chaitanya Charitamrta Kahe Krishna Das. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta, following in their footsteps. So with this, we conclude chapter 18 of MadhyaLila, and here we are entering into chapter 19. Now, this is again a very, very important, significant and fantastic chapter where we will see Lord Caitanya Mahāprabhu giving certain specific instructions to Śrīla Rūpa Gosvāmī. So we have heard about these two brothers, Rupa and Sanatan, and how they were engaged with the Nawabs. They were serving the Muslims. So though they were born in the family of Saraswat Brahmins, but then they were treated as Muslims because they were serving in Muslim government and they were holding very, very important positions. So one was the chief minister, another was the prime minister, and they were very close to the Nawabs at that time. And we heard that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he was initially attempting to go to Vrindavan. So these brothers, they forbade him, bringing out the point that you should not go along with, such big entourage to Vrindavan. Otherwise, Muslim rulers may disturb you because they would feel threatened. So these brothers, now we will be talking about their reunion with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it's again a long chapter. And today, let's see, we would try to cover probably these first four sections. So verse number 1 to 12, Rupa Goswami's preparation to meet Lord Chaitanya. So Rupa Goswami is gearing up. Vrindavaniyam rasakeli vartam kalena luptam. Being anxious to revive the Vrindavan pastimes of Lord Krishna impregnated the heart of Rupa Goswami with spiritual potency. By this potency, Śrīla Rūpa Gosvāmī could revive the activities of Krishna in Vrindavan, activities almost lost to memory. In this way, he spread Krishna consciousness throughout the world. So now, an introduction about the instructions what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would be giving to Rupa Goswami. So actually what has happened is when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, it's already almost 5,000 years have passed since Lord Krishna had appeared. And because of that, because of this long time gap, most of the places in Vrindavan were lost. And especially after Mughals invasion, everything was destroyed. So now we would see that how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives this one very, very specific instruction to Rupa Goswami to revive this land of Krishna, to revive those places of Vrindavan, which everyone has faded away from the memory. So that is the important mission which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would instruct Rupa Goswami. And he would do through scriptures and through physically finding out those places. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Lord Nityananda, all glories to Advaita Chandra, and all glories to all the devotees of the Lord. Shri Rupa Sanatan Rahe Ram Kheli Grame, Prabhu re miliya gela apana bhavane. After meeting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the village of Ramkeli, the brothers Rup and Sanatan returned to their homes. So when they met there, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Ramkeli, and then now they have come back to their places. Dui bhai vishay tyage ropaya srijila, bahudhana diya dui brahmane varila. The two brothers devised a means whereby they could give up their material activities. For this purpose, they appointed two brahmanas and paid them a large amount of money. So what are we discussing now is how Rupa and Sanatan are actually preparing to meet or to unite with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what are they doing is, they are gradually reducing their material activities. They are giving it off to others. They are also detaching from their possessions, their wealth. So this is how one prepares our consciousness to follow Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gradually, we all also need to renounce our mundane engagements and our material activities. Krishna mantra karaila dui Purascharana Achirat Paibara Chaitanya Charana. The Brahmanas performed religious ceremonies and chanted the holy name of Krishna so that the two brothers might attain shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very soon. So in the previous verse, we heard that they had employed two Brahmanas. Now what these two Brahmanas were doing, here it is mentioned, Purashcharan. So this Purashcharan is a specific religious activity with some desire. So if we desire something and we are performing some rituals, so that is known as Purashcharan. So they have hired these two Brahmanas so that they can do these religious activity. And what do they want? So they do not want anything material or mundane, but they desire to attain the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahāprabhu. So they started certain rituals to attain that. Also, along with that, they were chanting the holy names of Krishna. Śrīla Rūpa Gosvāmī tobe naukate bhoriya, apanara ghare aila bahudhana lana. Rupa Gosvāmī, when he returned home, taking with him large quantities of riches loaded in boats. So they were very influential people. They were the ministers. They had lots and lots of money. So Rupa Gosvāmī, he gathered all his money, large quantity of money, and he loaded in the boat. Brahmana Vaishnava Lila Tara Ardha Dhane Eka Chauthi Dhana Dila Kutumba Bharane. So now here Rupa Gosvāmī is giving again a very important instructions. How can we divide our wealth? So how is Rupa Gosvāmī dividing? The wealth that he brought home, now this is not for his enjoyment. So he has collected everything, all the assets, everything he has converted into money, and now what he is doing is he gave 50% in charity to Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. So 50% of the money he has employed in basically Krishna conscious causes. 25% to his relatives. So this is how when we have to do some charity. So I may, for example, feel a lot for, let's say, I want to sponsor the fees for some children going to school, or I want to take care of somebody's medical expense, or I want to take care of, older people. So all these things can also be dovetailed with Krishna conscious purpose. So like in our community, there are people who are from poor background. When I say my community, I'm talking about ISKCON community at large. So we have people who want to send their kids for studies, but they cannot afford the fees. Or we have sick people and they can't afford expensive treatments. So what we do is we identify such people and I join the two. So I have a desire to take care of medical expenses, and I have somebody who is, looking for that, and who is a Vaishnava, who's following the path of Krishna consciousness. So I join that and I do that type of charity. So that becomes very pleasing to the Supreme Lord. So here it is mentioned that he gave 50% in charity to Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, taking care of various needs, and 25% to his relatives, because we have certain duties towards our family also. Dand bandha lagi chauthi sanchaya korila, bhala bhala viprasthane sthapya rakhila. He kept 1/4 of his wealth with a respectable Brahmana. He kept this for his personal safety because he was expecting some legal complications. So now he was holding a very important position in a Muslim government. So he knew that sooner or later, when this would be revealed that he is leaving everything and going to serve Sri Chaitanya Mahāprabhu, then there would be some legal complications. So he is saving some emergency funds also. So total wealth, 50% for Brahmins and Vaishnavas, 25% for the families, the relatives, and another 25% for the emergency. So those of you also, our viewers here, if you have some such funds allocated and if you want to donate it for a very specific cause, you can get in touch with me and I can guide you accordingly, as in where can you channelize the donation which takes care of the poor and the needy, but the Vaishnavas. So this is how he is teaching us about the division of wealth. Gaude rakhila mudra dasha hajare, sanatana vyaya kore rakhe mudi ghare. He deposited 10,000 coins, which were later spent by Sri Sanatan Goswami in the custody of a local Bengali grocer. So we will see. So this 1/4 of the wealth, or the 25%, it is not that he is enjoying that. So he has deposited that, and we will see in the following chapters and verses that how it is utilized by Sanatan Goswami. Shri Rupa Shunila Prabhu Niladri Gamana Vana Pothe Yabin Prabhu Shri Vrindavana. Shri Rupa Gosvāmī heard that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had returned to Jagannath Puri and was preparing to go to Vrindavan through the forest. So this is the news which has reached Rupa Gosvāmī that Mahaprabhu is about to leave for Vrindavan. Rupa Gosvāmī Rupa Gosvāmī chala pathail dui jana Prabhu yobe Vrindavana karena gamana. Shri Rupa Gosvāmī sent two people to Jagannath Puri to find out when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would depart for Vrindavan. Shigra asi mora tanra deba samachara Shuniyata dana rupa koriba vyavhara. Shri Rupa Gosvāmī told the two men, "You are to return quickly and let me know when he will depart. Then I shall make the proper arrangements." So now Rupa Gosvāmī, he has started those rituals and prayers and chanting of Krishna's name. He has divided his wealth and settled everything. And he has sent two men to check out when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is leaving for Vrindavan. And he is telling that you return and based on your plans, I will plan further. So he's completely renounced his duties, responsibilities, wealth, everything is settled. And now he's waiting for the call so that he can decide where and how he has to travel. So next section, the Nawab of Bengal arrests Sanatan Goswami. So Rupa Goswami is free. Rupa Goswami is ready to travel and Sanatan Goswami is behind there. So let's see what is he doing. Etha Sanatan Gosai bhave mone mana Raja more priti kore se more bandhana. While Sanatan Goswami was in Gaudadesh, he was thinking, the Nawab is very pleased with me. I certainly have an obligation. So Sanatan Goswami was not like this able to give it up because he was tied. More bandhan. What is that bandhan? Raja more priti kore. So Raja or the Nawab is very pleased with me and he loves me. So I'm not able to, break this bond instantly and go. I have certain obligations because the Nawab has trusted me with so much of responsibility. And we will see how Nawab actually treats Sanatan as his own family member. Kunamote Raja yadi more kruddha haya tabe avyahati haya karilu nishchaya. But he is scheming, and what he is scheming? If the Nawab somehow or other becomes angry with me, I shall be greatly relieved. That is my conclusion. So somehow Nawab shall become angry with me and, send me away. So that is easy because otherwise convincing Nawab is very difficult. Asvastha yer chhatma kori rohe nij ghare Raja kare chadila naya Raja dware. On the pretext of bad health, Sanatan Goswami remained home. Thus he gave up government service and did not go to the royal court. Lobhika yasgana Raja karya kore apane swagre kore shastrera vichare. The greedy masters of his clerical and secretarial staff performed the government duties while Sanatan personally remained home and discussed the revealed scriptures. So now Sanatan Goswami has taken leave of absence on the pretext of bad health. So he is staying at home. And it is mentioned here, Lobhi Kayasth Gana Raja Karya Kare. So Lobhi Kayasth. Now Kayasth, now we equate it to the caste system, but actually these are the clerical and secretarial staff, which is Prabhupada has translated there. So these people, they are very greedy. They want more and more money. So when they saw that Sanatan Goswami is on leave, so they thought, let us win the heart of the Nawab by working very hard, and then Nawab would be pleased with us and then he would give us more salary. So they were very happy and they were serving. And Sanatan Goswami, what was he doing? He was discussing the revealed scriptures. Bhattacharya Pandit Bisha Trishalana Bhagavat Vichar Korina Sabhate Vasiya. Shri Sanatan Goswami used to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam in an assembly of 20 or 30 learned Brahman scholars. So he called upon these Brahmins. Brahmins essentially means the scholars who have studied Srimad Bhagavatam with great faith and conviction that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in that assembly, he would sit and he would discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. He had such natural attachment and affection to Srimad Bhagavatam and to the Supreme Lord that this is what he started doing. Aradina Gaudeshwara Sange Ek Jana Achambite Gosai Sa Bhate Koila Agamana. While Sanatana Goswami was studying Srimad Bhagavatam in the assembly of learned Brahmanas, one day the Nawab of Bengal and another person suddenly appeared. So he was reading Srimad Bhagavatam and he was very happy, completely absorbed himself in the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada writes there in the purport, Prabhupada has given a beautiful purport to these verses where he is talking about the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam and how it is Amal Puran, how it is completely spotless. So he was reading the essence of all the Vedic literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, and enjoying, and Nawab came there one day. Patasaha dekhiya sabe sambrame uthila, sambrame asana diya raja re vasaila. As soon as all the Brahmanas and Sanatana Goswami saw the Nawab appear, they all stood up and respectfully gave him a sitting place to honor him. So everyone, now this is the culture, that though Brahmanas are superior to Nawab, though Sanatana Goswami is way superior to Nawab, yet they are respecting that position. So he is the king. So as soon as that person with a position walks in, everyone gets up and they gave him a seat to be seated. The Nawab said, I sent my physician to you, and he has reported that you are not diseased. As far as he could see, you are completely healthy. So now Nawab, the physician, went and reported to Nawab. So Nawab was very concerned about Sanatana Goswami and he had sent his own physician to check out. And he has gone and reported to Nawab what is happening there. So as we can see in this picture, there are so many Vaishnavas with their Japa Mala, Tilak, Kanthi Mala, and Sanatana Goswami. They were all sitting and discussing, chanting holy names of Krishna and discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. And Nawab just enters there and Nawab is furious that what is this? You are cheating me, you are lying, you are completely healthy and you are saying that you are sick. Amar ye kichhu karya sab tomala na karya chhadi rahila tumi ghare te vasiya. I am depending on you to carry out so many of my activities, but you have given up your governmental duties to sit here at home. So you are holding such important position and now you're sitting here at home. Morayat karya kama sab koila nasha ki tomar hridaya ache kaha mora pasha. You have spoiled all my activities. What is your intention? Please tell me frankly. Sanatana kahe nahe ama hoite kama ar ek jana diya kar samadhana. Now finally Sanatana Goswami is telling that you can no longer expect any service from me. Please arrange for someone else to tend to the management. Kindly relieve me. So he is sort of submitting his resignation because he is caught there. So he is telling, I cannot serve anymore. Please relieve me. Tabe kruddha naraja kahe ar bar tomar bada bhai kare dasyu vyavahara. Becoming angry with Sanatana Goswami, the Nawab said, your elder brother is acting just like a plunderer. So now he is referring, actually Nawab, he felt that Sanatana Goswami is his younger brother. So when he is referring here to the Bada Bhai or the elder brother, he is referring to himself. So he is telling that my job is to conquer different kingdoms and your job is to manage this kingdom. So your elder brother is acting just like a plunderer. Jiva bahumari koila chakla sabanasha etha tumi koila mora sarva karya nasha. By killing many living entities, your elder brother has destroyed all Bengal. Now here you are destroying all my plans. So the Raja is telling, I am going around, I am killing people, I am conquering people, I am plundering riches, and you were expected to manage here. But what are you doing? You are sitting here and destroying all my plans. Sanatana kahe tumi swatantra gaudeshwara ye dosha kore dehatar phala. Sanatan Goswami said, you are the supreme ruler of Bengal and are completely independent. Whenever someone commits a fault, you punish him accordingly. So we remember Sanatan initially itself, he was planning that for something, if he becomes angry, if Nawab becomes angry, and then Sanatan was hoping that he may just chuck him away from his responsibilities and then he can also go and join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he is reminding that you are independent, you are the ruler. If I am committing any mistake, you can punish me. Etashuni Gaudeshwara uthi ghare gela palaiba boli sana tanera bandhila. Hearing this, the Nawab of Bengal stood up and returned to his home. He ordered the arrest of Sanatan Goswami so that he would not be able to leave. So now the tables have turned a little extra. So Sanatan Goswami, he thought that he would be relieved, but here he is arrested. So far he was tied with Prema Bandhan, Preeti Bandhan. He says Preeti Bandhan. And now he is tied with the shackles. So he is arrested. He nakale gela raja udiya marite sanatana kahe tumi chala mora sathe. At this time, the Nawab was going to attack the province of Odisha, and he told Sanatan Goswami, come along with me. Teho kahe yabe tumi devatai duktite mora shakti nahi tomar sange yaite. Sanatan Goswami replied, you are going to Orissa to give pain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For this reason, I am powerless to go with you. So Jagannath resides in Odisha. Jagannath is the ruler of Odisha, and you are going to cause pain to his people. So he is telling that I cannot come along with you. Tabetan ribandhi rakhi korila gamana ye tha Lila chala haite Prabhu chalila Vrindavan. The Nawab again arrested Sanatan Goswami and kept him in prison. At this time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu departed for Vrindavan from Jagannath Puri. So the previous chapter, see, Chaitanya Charitamrta is not in time scale, like it is not moving with time. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the previous chapter, we saw that he has already left for Vrindavan. And this was happening on the other side. So now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is departing for Vrindavan and Sanatan Goswami is put in the jail. Moving to the next section, verse number 31 to 60. Rupa Goswami and Anupama meets Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Prayag. Tabe se dui chara Rupa thani aila Vrindavan chalila Prabhu asiye kahila. The two persons who went to Jagannath Puri to inquire about the Lord's departure returned and informed Rupa Goswami that the Lord had already departed for Vrindavan. So they wanted to go meet the Lord at Jagannath Puri or en route Vrindavan. So he was given this message that Lord has already left. Shuniya Shri Rupa likhil sanatana thani Vrindavan chalila ЩrīCaitanya Gosvāmī. Upon receiving this message from his two messengers, Rupa Goswami immediately wrote a letter to Sanatan Goswami saying that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had departed for Vrindavan. So seemingly Rupa Goswami was aware of the arrest of Sanatan Goswami, so he has written him a letter. Ami doi bhai chalilan tahare milite tumi aiche taiche chuti aisa taha hoite. In his letter to Sanatan, Śrīla Rūpa Gosvāmī wrote, we two brothers are starting out to go see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You must also somehow or other get released and come meet us. So who are these two brothers? So Rupa and Anupama are going. So there are three brothers Sanatan Goswami, Rupa Goswami and Anupam. So he is telling that me and Anupam are going, and you also try somehow to get relief from the jail and come and meet us. दश सहस्मुद्रा तथा आछे मूड़ी स्थाने ताहा दिया कर शीघ्र आत्मा विमोचने. Sri Rupa Goswami further informed Srila Sanatan Goswami, I have left a deposit of 10,000 coins with the grocer. Use that money. How will he use? Bribe people. So use that money, bribe people and get out of the prison. So somehow, because they were very tactful also. Not only they were scholarly and devotional, but they were very tactful. They were managing the whole kingdom. So he said, you can utilize that. And that is why Rupa Goswami has kept this contingency fund, 25% or 10,000 coins. यायचे तायचे छोटी तोमी आयसा वृंदावाना एता लिखी दुई भाई करिला गमाना. Somehow or other get yourself released and come to Vrindavan. After writing this, the two brothers Rupa and Anupama went to see Sri Chaitanya Mahāprabhu. Anupama Mallik Tanra Nama Shri Vallabha Rupa Gosai Chota Bhai Parama Vaishnava. Rupa Goswami's younger brother was a great devotee whose actual name was Sri Vallabh, but he was given the name Anupama Mallik. So these three brothers, because they were associated with Nawabs, so their names were changed. So this Anupama's real name was Sri Vallabh. Tahala Narup Gosai Prayage Aila Mahaprabhu Taha Shuni Anandita Haila. So he is going to Vrindavan, and on the way to Vrindavan, he is stopping at Prayag, and he comes to know that Mahaprabhu is also there. So Rupa and Anupama Mallik went to Prayag, and they were very pleased to hear the news that Sri Chaitanya Mahāprabhu was there. Prabhu chaliya chena bindu madhav darshane lakha lakha loka aise prabhu ramilane. At Prayag, Sri Chaitanya Mahāprabhu went to see the temple of Bindu Madhav, and many hundreds of thousands of people followed him just to meet him. Keha kande keha hase keha nache gaya Krishna Krishna boli keha gada gadi aya. So like we have been seeing verse after verse, chapter after chapter, section after section, the same thing is happening. Some of the people following Lord were crying, some were laughing, some were dancing, and some were chanting. Indeed, some of them were rolling on the ground exclaiming, Krishna Krishna. Ganga Yamuna Prayag Narila Dubaite Prabhu Dubaila Krishna Premera Vanyate. Prayag is located at the confluence of two rivers, the Ganges and the Yamuna. Although these rivers were not able to flood Prayag with water, Sri Chaitanya Mahāprabhu inundated the whole area with waves of ecstatic love for Krishna. So Ganga and Yamuna were limited. They were there within their boundaries. But Chaitanya Mahāprabhu, he was roaming freely, distributing the love of Godhead. He was carrying this ocean in his heart, and he was giving to one and all just by mere glance, and people were floating in this ocean of love of Krishna. भीड़ देखी दुई भाई रहिला निर्जने प्रभुर आवेश होइला माधव दर्शने. Seeing the great crowd, the two brothers remained standing in a secluded place. They could see that Sri Chaitanya Mahāprabhu was ecstatic to see Lord Bindu Madhav. So they were having the darshan of Krishna, having the darshan of Bindu Madhav. And they were feeling very happy to see how Chaitanya Mahāprabhu, how Krishna in the form of Chaitanya Mahāprabhu was completely ecstatic at the darshan of Bindu Madhav. Prema veshe nache Prabhu hari dhvani kari urdhva baku kori bole bala hari hari. The Lord was loudly chanting the holy name of Hari. Dancing in ecstatic love and raising his arms, he asked everyone to chant Hari Hari. Prabhura mohima dekhi loke chamatkara Prayage Prabhura Lila Narivarni Bara. Everyone was astounded to see the greatness of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Indeed, I cannot properly describe the pastimes of the Lord at Prayag. So how everyone was ecstatic, how everyone was inundated with love of Godhead. Krishnadas Kaviraj is saying that I cannot do justice because I have no words to describe. Dakhinatya viprasane ache parichaya sei viprane mantriya nilani jalaya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had made an acquaintance with a Brahman from Deccan or in South India, and that Brahmana invited him for meals and took him to his place. Vipragrihe asi prabhu nibrite vasila Śrīla Rūpa Vallabha dunhe asiya miliya. So there, when Rupa and Anupama, they saw that it was very crowded, they did not go close by. They were waiting at a distance. And then now, while Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was sitting in a solitary place in the home of that South Indian Brahman or Deccan Brahman, that is the time when Rupa and Vallabha, they came to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Dui guchha trina dunhe darshane dhariya Prabhu dekhi dure pade dandavatahana. Seeing the Lord from a distance, the two brothers put clumps of straw between their teeth and immediately fell down on the ground like rods, offering him obeisances. So there was this trin, this grass, the straw. So they kept that dry grass or that straw in their teeth, which reflected that they are approaching the Lord with utmost humility and comparing themselves as that straw on the street, which nobody values, basically. So they were telling that we are so insignificant just by their gesture. And that's how they felt, and they fell like rod, and they offer obeisances to Mahaprabhu. Nana shloka padi uthe pade bar bar Prabhu dekhi prema vesha hoila duhara. Both brothers were overwhelmed and with ecstatic emotion and reciting various Sanskrit verses. They stood up and fell down. They stood up and they fell down. They stood up, they fell down. They were glorifying the Lord and they were in complete ecstasy. I mean, can we even imagine that how would we feel when we will be standing directly face to face with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or with Supreme Lord Krishna? So that has happened to them. Lord is right there in front of them. Shri Rupe dekhiya Prabhur prasann hoila mana Utha utha Rupa aisa bolila vachana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased to see Śrīla Rūpa Gosvāmī, and he told him, Utha utha, stand up, my dear Rupa, come here. Krishnera koruna kichu nayaya varnane Vishay kupa hoite kadil tomadui jane. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then said, it is not possible to describe Krishna's mercy, for he has delivered you both from the well of material enjoyment. So you were actually floating in material enjoyment. Actually, it is easy to renounce, or it is easy to take shelter of Krishna when I am suffering, when I am miserable, when I don't have money. But if I have all that money and I am enjoying my life, I am not suffering. Rupa and Sanatan and Anupama, they had no problems in their life. So if I am not suffering, if I have money, if I have wealth, if I have power and prestige and recognition, and at that time to renounce everything, it's huge. So Mahaprabhu is telling that it is actually Krishna's mercy, because it is very difficult on our own to renounce everything. So because Krishna is merciful to you, he has delivered you both from the well of material enjoyment. Name bhaktash chaturvedi madbhaktah shvapachah priyaha tasmai deyam tato grahyam sacha pujyo yathahi aham. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is quoting here, Name bhaktash chaturvedi madbhakta shvapachah priyaha. Shvapachah means dog eater. So let's see what it means. Even though a person is very learned scholar of the Sanskrit Vedic literature, he is not accepted as my devotee unless he is in devotional service. So you can be a Pandita, you can be a Sanskrit Pandita, but need not be the devotee or dear to Krishna. Even though a person is born in a family of dog eaters, he is very dear to me. If he is a pure devotee who has no motive to enjoy fruitive activities or mental speculation. Indeed, all respect should be given to him, and whatever he offers should be accepted. Such devotees are as worshipable as I am. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is quoting Srimad Bhagavatam and important verses that how a person is identified by his characteristic of pure devotional service. That person becomes respectful. That person should be offered all respects, even if he is born in the family of a dog eater. He shloka padi duhar koila alingana kripa te duhar mathaya dharila charana. After reciting this verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what did he do? Duhare koila alingan. He embraced these two brothers. And kripate, out of his causeless mercy, duhara mathaya. Mathaya means on their heads. So he placed his feet on their head. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally placed his foot on their head because they were so sincerely, submissively taking shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhu krupa pana duhe dui hata yudi dinahana stuti kare vinaya achari. After receiving the Lord's causeless mercy, the two brothers folded their hands and in great humility offered the following prayers unto the Lord. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvise Namaha. O most munificent incarnation, Mahavadanyaya, you are most munificent. Krishna Prema Pradayate, you provide the love of Krishna. Krishnasya Krishna Chaitanya, you are Krishna himself appearing as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishnasya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvise Namaha. You have assumed the golden complexion of Srimati Radharani and you are widely distributing pure love for Krishna. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Then further they say that we offer our respectful obeisances unto that merciful Supreme Personality of Godhead who has converted all three worlds which were maddened by ignorance and saved them from their diseased condition by making them mad with the nectar from the treasure house of love of God. Let us take full shelter of that personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, whose activities are wonderful. So these are some verses which they recited glorifying Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Tobe Mahaprabhu tanre nikate vasaila Sanatanir varta kaha tahare puchila. After this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat them down by his side and asked them, what news do you have of Sanatan? So Mahaprabhu is saying that, okay, so you two have come. Where is my dear Sanatan? What is his news? Rupa kahe na te ho bandi hoya raja ghare tumi yadi udhar tobe hoibe udhare. Sanatan has now been arrested by the government of Hussain Shah. If you kindly save him, he can be liberated from that entanglement. So my dear Lord, you are all powerful, and though you are sitting in Prayag, but if you have mercy, he will be liberated from the government of Hussain Shah who have arrested him, and he is behind the bars now. Prabhu kahe sanatanir hana che mochana achirat atma saha hoibe milana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately replied, Sanatan has already been released from his confinement and he will very soon meet with me. So now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sitting here, but he is Krishna himself. So he knows that, okay, Rūpa Gosvāmī, when you left Bengal, that time he was in the prison. But by the time you have reached Prayag, so you imagine from Bengal to Prayag, he has to walk all the way down. So by the time he has reached, few weeks have passed and Sanatan has actually used that money which Rupa had deposited with the grocer, and he has been released from the confinement. Madhyana korite vipra prabhu re kahila, Rup Gosai se divasa tathani rahila. The Brahmana then requested Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to accept his lunch. Rupa Gosvāmī also remained there that day. Bhattacharya doi bhaiye nimantran koila, Prabhur shesh prasada patre doi bhai paila. Balbhadra Bhattacharya extended the invitation. So he invited the two brothers to take lunch also. So Mahaprabhu was invited in this house of this South Indian Brahman. Balbhadra Bhattacharya, who was his servant, he actually invited Rupa and Anupama also. So the remnants of food from the plate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were offered to them. Triveni upara prabhur vasa ghara sthana, Dui bhai vasa koila prabhu sannidhana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu selected his residence beside the confluence of the Ganges and the Yamuna, a place called Triveni. The two brothers, Rupa Gosvāmī and Sri Vallabh, selected their residence near the Lord. So as we have heard that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed there for 10 days. So Rupa and Sanatan also reached their place. I mean, they found the residence there and they also stayed there. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So thank you all very much for joining on this very interesting journey. Now in the upcoming session, we will see, as the title of the chapter, that those most important instructions would be given to Rupa Gosvāmī, and by the mercy of Krishnadas Kaviraj and Srila Prabhupada, those instructions would reach us in a proper bona fide Guru Shishya Parampara. So looking forward to see all of you next week, and also I request you all to share your most important or significant learning from today's session. So thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.